Good evening, everybody. How are you? And it's the Gold Ghost and Guns Hour. My name is Tom Luongo. Let's see if we can make this thing work tonight. All right. Start that here. Talking that. Twitter. Hey, Stormy, how are you? Let's do this. All right, so here we are this evening. What I want to talk about tonight is Steve Bannon, Secret Agent Man. Turkey is going to enter the Eurasian Economic Union, and I think I'm going to want to talk about where I think gold, goats, and where gold and Bitcoin are headed. Can you guys hear me? All right, we're good. Yeah, I just had to do the whole sound mixing thing, and again, good evening, Teresa. How are you? All right, so let's talk about. Yeah, everybody tried to find me on Gab, guys, and unfortunately, Gab did not cooperate and actually put the stream up for us to see. I couldn't find it, so it was no luck. So we decided to move over here, and since Periscope is good for about the only thing that Periscope is really good for is, well, and it's not even really good at that, is sending out invitations to everybody and notifications. We used that for a couple of minutes to figure out what was going on and keep organized. So, how are we doing this evening? How is everybody? Sorry for all of the technical delays and screw ups and everything else, but it's like everything else. If it wasn't hard, everybody would be doing it. All right. So let's talk about this situation with Steve Bannon. All right, I talked about this a little bit on Periscope earlier in this evening, but I really think that there's something. I think there's something up here between him and Trump and all of it. I'm going to be very. I'm going to be upfront about this. Yeah, I know. I would like to have done the same thing, and and I'm. I don't know what's going on. I know that I saw in the Gab TV thread that Wayne Dupree was due to go on 905. I didn't see his stream in the mix either, and he's got a big audience, so it's not like we got what 8, 10, 15, maybe we'll do 15 people tonight, right? Now Wayne's got hundreds of people following his feed. They've got to get that stuff worked out where that's working properly. So yeah, it would be nice to move over there and get away from all this shit. So, yeah. But let's talk about Steve Bannon, Secret Agent Man, and let's see where we are. Yeah, all the way around. Let's see what we've got. Right. So, Bannon is thrown out of the White House right after. Now, here's the thing. This is the reason why I'm beginning to really believe that what I just wrote now for Halsey is what I think is actually going on. That's this. Apparently, Bannon quit 2 weeks ago, or was going to be fired 2 weeks ago, about the same time that Scaramucci was fired, or quit, or resigned, or whatever. Why wait 2 weeks? Now, I heard something else this afternoon that said, well, he was, he was going to leave a couple of days ago, but then there was Charlottesville, and they didn't want, bullshit. Why would Bannon and Trump wait 2 weeks to announce this? All the rumors flying for almost 2 weeks now, which were true, right? That Bannon was going to leave the White House. Why do it then? It's because there's a meeting between Assange and Dana Rohrabacher. And the outrage over Charlottesville. the truth of the matter is that this thing over Charlottesville really hadn't blown up into a big, in North Korea and all that. I don't know that those things really have much to say about it, because I don't know. I don't think that this had foreign policy really had anything to do with this. I think this is so much more about, they knew Charlottesville was going to be, everybody knew that it was going to be a shit show, right? Everybody knew it from the moment that Airbnb started canceling people's reservations and everything else, that the whole thing was going to go sideways. Now, what if? And Steve Bannon is a wily fucker, right? He's not a he's a 4D chess kind of guy. Now, you hold off on this. Thing is that, right, I mean, and that's DC, right? User 13. So, if you think about this really carefully, they waited to the worst possible moment optically for them to announce Bannon's leaving. Right? You got CEOs leaving all these councils, Trump, dissolving them all. Everybody's virtue signaling their tits off. Makes Trump look like he fired the racist. It's good PR. Exactly. All of this stuff, right? All looks good. And the truth of the matter is, we just had Dana Rohrabacher meet with Julian Assange. The first, and this is funny, I didn't realize this until I read something in the Washington Times while I was doing a little bit of quick research on, the meeting. Rohrabacher was the first person from the U.S. federal government to meet with Assange in 5 years that he's been in asylum, or exile, whatever you want to call it. Also changes the narrative for the Sunday shows. Also an interesting point. So when you think about it, Rohrabacher's meeting with Assange for the first person in 5 years to meet with Julian Assange. First person from the Trump, nominally associated with the Trump administration, to meet with Julian Assange. The Trump administration has been nothing but hostile to Julian Assange since they came to power. Jeff Sessions is reportedly looking into ways to is looking for ways to bring charges up against Assange. It looks like all of this stuff is going on, right? So now let's ask the question: why now? What's going on? Why would Rohrabacher go to meet with Assange now? I don't understand. Doesn't make much sense, right? It's all of this other stuff, unless Trump is setting up a judo slam. Unless he's setting up a massive reversal on these people, that he's going to take them down in the worst way imaginable. Because if Assange has what we think he has, and what he's basically told us he has, then he can take down most of the DNC. Right. Oh, it's more than shutting down Don Jr. or shutting down Mueller. This is far deeper. This is far bigger than this. The way Rohrabacher's talking, it's enough to take down half the government. So now, really start to put the picture together. This is about Seth Rich. This is about so many other things. This is about all the things. This is about all of these things coming together. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Think about it. Right. They're going to get Hillary on this. They're going to get Chuck Schumer, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Donna Brazile, all of them. As a matter of fact, it could even go so far as to get frickin' Obama himself if All of the, because look, this stuff all starts to fall. This all starts to fall into place. Okay, you really start to think about it. Everything that's been done, that we know was done in service of wiretapping Trump, getting the FISA warrants, all of this stuff. The Iwan brothers were just indicted. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is next. What else is hiding? Someone else will have to take up the case. Who's going to take it up? It'll have to be Rosenstein. Or Sessions will have to be fired and somebody else will have. There's so many things that need to be addressed here. Hillary's emails, I mean, I don't think Hillary's the one that's we're going to get hurt first. You're going to get all the other people first. You're going to get Brazil. You're going to get Wasserman Schultz. You're going to get possibly even Chuck Schumer. You're going to possibly even get John McCain. Because all of this stuff ties back into how they got the FISA warrants and the Trump dossier and everything else. If Julian Assange has Hillary dead to rights over commissioning the Trump dossier and all of the stuff that was sent over. Remember, Assange and WikiLeaks never gave us all of it. They only gave us a taste of what they have. There's a reason why they've been holding it back. Assange wants to be pardoned. No shit, he wants to be pardoned. But he's going to put whatever he's going to put on the table for Trump has to be enough to put Hillary in jail, or at least clap her in irons, so that she can't have him killed. He wants out of this in such a way that he can walk as a free man, and I don't blame him. Yeah, no, Sessions is yeah, that's the problem with Jeff Sessions. He's in his own way, whether you agree with him or not, he's too honorable a person to go that route, and they knew that. You know, if these guys wind up going to jail and Hillary and Hillary allowed them to have access to her stuff, dude, this is high treason stuff. As secretary. And Assange should be playing these cards for as much as they're worth. As frustrating it is for us, we want to see Hillary in jail. We want to see these people. He's got to get this done in such a way that the people who will try and have him killed, the minute he walks out of that embassy, they have to be neutralized. Oh yeah, no, Rosenstein is absolutely not trustworthy. I can see what you guys are writing. I haven't been, I was watching. All right. Oy. I mean, I don't like Giuliani personally, but man, I know that Giuliani would cream in his jeans at the opportunity to get Hillary Clinton. But it'd be fun. Something is about to give. It really does feel that way. And it's either Trump is going to go full neocon deep state war hawk, or he's going to go on the offensive in a way that we've not seen him go before. And it's going to create civil war. Now, remember back when we were doing the Periscope about 45 minutes ago, I said, I had something I was going to talk about. And then I said, no, fuck that. I'm not going to give that to Periscope. Here it is. In DC, you're going to love this. This is going to make me sound like I'm a little woo-woo. But I'm going to run with it. I want you guys to remember this. Stick it in your hat. And then let's see what happens. Keep the dates, September 11th, September 12th, in your head. Those are the days that, according to Martin Armstrong's cycles work, that will put the war cycle at its peak. That there's going to be something happen that there's a date that's popped out of Martin's computer that says September 11th or 12th. Around then, something major is going to happen. Now, to this point, the assumption has been it's all about North Korea, right? It's all been about North Korea. What if it's not about North Korea? What if North Korea is already solved? We're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? And really, diplomatically speaking, all the work's being done behind the scenes right now, and a deal is going to get cut. What if September 11th/12th is actually the day that we have a civil war break out in Washington, D.C.? And I don't mean a shooting war, declaration of war, Florida secedes, and that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a metaphoric civil war. What if Trump is able to get an indictment of Hillary, or takes down 5 sitting members of the Senate and frog marches them out of the Senate, or has them arrested? I don't know if they're going to be back from recess by then. In effect, right. I want you to think about it. Or a terrorist attack. Or another terrorist attack to force Trump's hand. Something's going to happen in the next month or so. I hate to say this because I don't like to believe in this shit. Part of me believes that any system that thinks it can predict the future I don't know. Martin Armstrong stuff is spooky. That's the other side of it. They could assassinate Trump. Trump could win. I know the organized left will riot if she's indicted. She's guilty. It won't stop them from doing so. All Socrates. No. What if he's right about all this? What if Socrates is right? He really is scary accurate. Okay? So I've been thinking about this, for a while now. And I sit here and I gotta wonder, yeah, Blair, I can understand not trusting Trump to be that bold, but he may already be at that point. He may already be at the level of having to be having been provoked. Well, you got to remember that, they're going to try this again. Now to back up and let's talk about please tell you about Martin Armstrong. Go to armstrongeconomics.com. Or DC, type it in type the link in the thing. Martin Armstrong is a cycles analyst, a market analyst who extraordinaire. The man was sent to prison in solitary confinement for 7 years for contempt of court for not turning over his computer to Goldman Sachs. Wouldn't do it. Southern District of New York sent him to jail. They locked the man in solitary confinement for doing nothing other than defying the deep state. He's out of jail. They finally, if the court order finally got lifted. Finally. And he's now doing his thing. And now he's giving Socrates to the world. They're not happy with him. Either because they have a copy of it, doesn't matter anymore, or or oh yeah, Martin Armstrong's story is crazy. He's also, it is a movie. Armstrong's story is crazier than any movie you've ever. I've been reading Martin's work since he was in prison. Because Jim Sinclair used to get his hand typewritten reports out of prison that he would send out, that would get sent out through his lawyer or whatever, and then disseminated underground. Jim Sinclair used to post them regularly. Yeah, I've been following this shit for 15 years. I've been down every rabbit hole, every one of them. I don't buy most of them, but I can tell you that, a lot of what Martin's computer is telling him, when I started looking at it from that perspective, when I started actually listening to what he was saying and not just rejecting it out of hand because it didn't fit what I understood at the time. When I started to really make strides. He was in prison from 99 to 2000. He was in prison for a long time. He was in solitary for at least 7 years. I think he was in prison for at least 10 or 11 years. YouTube is stripping the links. YouTube's ArmstrongEconomics.com, all one word. So, yeah. Madoff should be set free until OJ and Hillary go to jail. Well, no. I think Hillary's going to wind up in jail, guys. I really do. Or the alternative. I really do. I really think that Hillary will be in jail at some point. Or at the very least, commit suicide before going. She's that venal. So she's been running the table for so long. She doesn't believe that she's gettable. So Bannon being removed from the White House, it never really paid off here. Oh, my wife has the best line imaginable. She has absolutely the best line about Hillary Clinton. Living in Gainesville, being a part of the homeschool moms group and all of that stuff. They're all crunchy. They're all libs. We live in Lib Central. Neil came out and said, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. And they're like, how could you vote for Donald Trump? Blah, 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 blah. Hillary's a woman. It's like, I've been waiting 25 years to vote against Hillary. I've hated that woman since the moment I saw her. Yeah, she could leave the country. No extradition treaty with Qatar, but we do have this huge base in Qatar. So if we really want to get Hillary, and Hillary kind of needs, I've been waiting 25. I know you guys are just finally catching up to me now. I've been waiting 25 years. I love saying that. I've been waiting 25 years to vote against Hillary Clinton. All she can think of is back to the Time magazine cover where they had her on the cover within the apron baking cookies, right? I'm like, fucking kidding me? Woman's never baked a cookie in her life. Not even a pot cookie. Oh, it's just terrible. It is just awful. You can just tell she's a nest. Looking at her. Like, God, it's like God. Oh, in the primaries? Nice. I voted. I'm still registered Republican, so I can vote for Ron Paul in the primaries. Same thing. Um, Also, so I get all the stuff from the RNC, so I can write nasty grams on it and send it back to them. Dude, seriously, Hillary's a dyke. Okay. Hillary's a dyke. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's just call a spade a spade. Bill's a horn dog. Not buying that one. Okay. All right. So, no, if there is or not. Hold on for a second. I can look to see whether or not I've got this thing set up wrong, but I really, what do you call? I'd really hate to like screw around with shit right now. I've got it working. I'm like, no, I've got it working. Gun shy about this whole thing and for months. Be gun shy about this thing for months. So let's talk about Steve Bannon, secret agent man. Let's think about this. Steve Bannon, kicked out of the White House at this moment in time. Send his ass back to Breitbart because it's important for him to be able to work from Breitbart to get out all the information that needs to get out and have the exclusive scoop on all of it. It doesn't go out through the Washington Post. It doesn't get leaked to the Post first. It doesn't get leaked to the Times. The CIA doesn't know anything about it unless they shake Dana Rohrabacher down at the airport. I mean, seriously. So, I mean, you know that this stuff is real because they're going out of their way to continually bring back the idea that Rohrabacher is a Russian agent and, he likes Putin and all of this stuff because, the man thinks, hey, maybe we should actually talk to the Russians. But we're not allowed to do that in today's because we're not allowed to do that in today's America because Russia needs to be our enemy so that Hillary Clinton doesn't go to jail. Yeah, I check Breitbart every once in a while just for giggles, but it hasn't been particularly interesting. Bannon needs to go back there anyway. He's done all he can, I think. Either Trump agrees with him and understands what needs to be done, or Trump is lost and Bannon needs to just, get over it. And that's that. So it's one or the other. I mean, there's really no other options. I don't think there's any gray area about it. Because Donald Trump's really not a gray area kind of guy, right? Yeah, the Russian thing really is on a loop. It's terrible. Absolutely. It's insane. And notice that we're not talking about the Russians. We're talking about now, we're back to Donald Trump as Hitler. Oh, I didn't see Lee's scope. Is Lee going back to Breitbart now that Bannon's back? Or what's going on with Lee? Why did Lee leave Breitbart in the first place? Does anybody know? Well, he knows that Fox is falling apart. He knows that the Murdoch kids are in charge. Rupert Murdoch is no better than his kids. Let's not anybody kid you. Remember, at the end of the day, there's not much difference between neocons and neoliberal cons. There really isn't. It's funny. Almost nobody I know believes the Russians. Even my lib friends are like, yeah, no. I mean, they start that. They start that stuff. But They're like, oh, come on. And I'm like, no, dude, seriously, come on. He's not a Russian agent. It's really dumb. The Russians didn't hack the election. You just believe something because you want to believe it. I love the fact that Adam went after the best that Adam could do to go after Lee Stranahan was to say, dude, you work for Sputnik. Dude, he wants a paycheck because he can actually write for a living and he's actually a good investigative reporter. Sputnik was willing to pay him. So, all right. So I think Bannon going back to Breitbart is absolutely necessary to the process. We'll see what happens. I mean, again, oh, you work with diversity? Meaning you work with... Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it. So what? Millennials like truth and they like authenticity. Lee Stranahan is a, bit of a blowhard. And I'm a bit of a blow. But, he's authentic. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm sure it is, DC. All right. Yeah, well, that's too bad. All right, so it's going to be interesting to watch Bannon work the room at Breitbart and see how that changes the dynamic. Again, this could all be, nonsense, right? Well, the mainstream media needs to have Trump derangements in, because without it, they don't have a story and they don't have any way to get any ratings. Because who the fuck is going to watch them? They it proves that we have it proves that we have the kind of Big Brother that Orwell could only imply. I mean, when was the last time you guys read 1984? But this is a really, really ugly situation now. You've got companies like Google and Apple controlling the on-ramps to information. You've got Amazon owning the Washington Post. You've got the CIA running most of the major networks. It's not really much different than the way it used to be when Cronkite was there, when it was 70s and the 80s. But the only time I turn on my television is on Netflix. Or, streaming something I downloaded off the Pirate Bay. For over 45, you become a blowhard by emotional evolution. Yeah, it is authentic, and authenticity sells with millennials. They don't give a shit whether you're old or you're young or what. They don't give a shit. They just want you to be authentic. They're tired of the bullshit. Okay, they really are. They're tired of the bullshit. They don't buy any of this. Oh my God, you still own cable, Stormy? Get out. Just get out. Get out. Huh. So the truth is that I think Trump's support is probably better now than it actually was at the beginning. I'm almost convinced that the man has more support in places where he won than anybody wants to let on. Yeah, look, if we find out over the course of the next 6 to 7 months, they're a hell of a lot more based and a hell of a lot more woke, or whatever the hell you want to call it. People want to make fun of me for being old, fat, and using the word woke. Well, fuck you too. I don't give a. So, the these kids understand what the issue is, and I said this in like one of the very first things I said when I went back to blogging publicly, not comfortably sitting behind the Newsmax paywall, and, talking to my very small, my much larger then, but small, but more insulated echo chamber. That one of the first things I said was the millennials are not going to hand Hillary this election because they crave authenticity. That Hillary is the exact opposite of what we want. That for better or worse, Bernie Sanders might be a fucking drooling idiot, and he is, but at least he's authentic about being a drooling idiot. Same thing with Jeremy Corbyn in the UK. The man is the man is a congenital moron when it comes to politics and economics. Because you have to be a congenital moron to actually like Marxism. But he comes by it honestly. It's who he is. He embraces his congenital morinity. And so the boomers are the problem. That generation, reading Strauss and Howe, that generation, as they get older, they become strident and didactic. They were revolutionaries when they were kids. And as they get older, they become more strident, more set in their ways, and more didactic. That's who's been running the country. That's where they are. Then you understand that as a prophet generation, they're the most coddled of all of them, of all the ones that have come previously. These are the ones that have been the most coddled in their intellectual, and allowed to exist in this kind of intellectual bubble. And, that's where we are. And it's not going to change. Boomers are still hanging on to power. The Gen Xers like us, like I would imagine most of the people, I'm Gen X. I'm 49. I live in the middle of freaking nowhere. I have one child. I dote all over her. And, and be hard pressed to find, find my house with a map and fans. It's yeah, I don't vote either. Unless, don't vote because I don't urge them. So but Gen X is just coming into power. This is what we're fighting right now. Is this fight between the prophet and the nomad generation. And because of that clash between generations is going to be one of the most violent that we've ever seen. We're seeing the beginnings of it now. This is only going to get worse because Gen X is only going to dig its heels in harder. Okay? Only going to get nastier. Okay? Because the individualist wing of Generation X, not the Marxist wing of Generation X, they exist. Not nearly in the numbers that they think they are. But the individualists are hard-bitten, educated, smart as fuck, and angry to the core. And they all own guns. Can't have a cultural revolution if the peasants still have guns. Possible. Gen X are as stubborn gets, man. Because we know we're right. That's why. And that's the problem. And we know we're right. While the boomers are being forced to admit that they've been wrong. And they can't do it. Okay, DC's got the quote of the night. Boomers larped about hating their parents, but Gen X actually does hate their boomer parents. Well, mine were silent era parents. I'm actually my parents were so old and I was so young. I came at the end that I'm actually quintessential boomer, but my parents are silent generation. My sisters are boomers. So I'm like the black sheep of the because no one understands me. They're not just that they're a bored collective, they've just as they get older, they become didactic. That mindset becomes, they were full of piss and vinegar and fury, and they've never been. Oh yeah, no, it was crazy. So, no, I mean it's not terrible. My parents were relatively good. I mean, my parents were great. Well, no, my dad was great people. My mom was a bitch. Oh yeah, my boomer parents can't admit they're wrong. They're horrible. I argue with boomers all the time, and they're just like, "What do you say?" And then they just walk out of the room and get angry because you've stated facts that agree with their worldview. And I'm like, but just because you went to college doesn't make you smarter than the silent generation that fought in World War II. You fuck, or the hero generation that fought. My yeah, my parents were all. My dad was born. Yeah, yeah. They refuse to admit their problems and say that we're all whiny babies and bitter. We're not whiny babies. We are bitter, but we're not whining about it. We're going to do something about it, and that do something is vote Donald Trump in the office to get rid of you. We don't give a shit what. I actually don't really care what Trump accomplishes as long as he pisses off and wastes all the boomers' time. If Trump fucks everything up, both domestically and foreign, and from a foreign policy perspective, we'll be okay. Antifa having guns, that will be disconcerting. That will be concerning. I believe the militia guys are better shots than they. It's bitter. Hey. It's funny. Even the millennials at this point, I don't think they're really not. I don't know. I mean, I've met millennials of all stripes. It's always dangerous to get into this in-group, out-group bias, right? If you just McCain a stroke, it'll all be worth it. It will be. All right. So I think we're about done with, but Bannon understands all of this stuff about the interplay between the generations in a way that a lot of people forget, right? That he really does get it. So I wouldn't worry from that perspective. I wouldn't worry that I was like, think about this. You do realize that in Charlottesville, there were a bunch of militia guys there with guns who didn't shoot. Nobody talks about that. They were just there to try and keep the peace and get people out of there as much as possible. All right. Bannon out. Back to Breitbart where he belongs. If Trump doesn't get it at this point, Trump's a lost cause. If he goes on the offensive, it'll be great. If he pardons Julian Assange, here's an interesting thing. I was talking to a friend of mine tonight, and I was bringing this theory up to him, and he said, that makes sense. The first thing he should do is pardon Joe Arpaio. Pardon Sheriff Joe. Didn't see the ACLU policy change. So if he pardons Sheriff Joe, The media will go into apoplexy. Everybody will go into apoplexy about, well, I can't pardon him for this. This is the only people he's allowed to pardon him for these reasons. And then he turns around and pardons Julian Assange. Heads explode. And Trump wins. Mueller's shut down. Half of the DNC is indicted. And he runs the table on these bitches just in time for a debt ceiling fight. At which point everybody folds. Telling you, he's going to go full Lincoln on these guys at some point. Oh, good. Finally, the ACLU finally grows a brain. I think he should pardon Sheriff Joe. That'd be awesome. I'm a huge fan of Joe Arpaio, but yes. What are they going to impeach him for? What are they going to impeach him for? The Democrats, apparently the Democratic leadership is scared to death of an impeachment vote if they lose it. So they're worried. So what they're trying to do is trying to get the Republicans on their side so that they can come up with enough votes to actually impeach him. But for what reason would they impeach him? Why? What could you possibly say? It's not that the man's a traitor. For what? We proved Russiagate was bullshit. We proved this is wrong. We proved this is wrong. Half of these people are going to jail. We're going to impeach you because you're going to put us in jail. Okay. At that point, okay, you think that that's actually going to stop him at that point? The 2018 midterm elections come up and half of these people get voted out of office. If they impeach Trump, everything changes. The left will think they have won if they impeach Trump. Guess what happens after that? Civil fucking war is what happens after that. That's what happens. You will have 73 million deplorables wake up in this country, wake up one morning and go to fucking war for Donald Trump. Our establishment was in full. Right. Clinton was impeached. It didn't mean anything. He didn't stop being president. We impeached you because you acted badly. Okay. Fine. Fuck you. Pass my budget. That's nice. I don't care. Pass my budget. Oh, yeah. Fine. You're all going to get primaried out. Fuck you. I'm the only one raising any money for you. To be honest with you, impeaching Trump at this point over all of this bullshit would be the equivalent of the Republicans impeaching Clinton for having sex in the White House with someone who wasn't his wife. Okay? Exactly, Stormy. The GOP would be committing suicide if they impeached him. If Lindsey Graham had a fucking brain in that freaking head of his, he would back off now. But the truth of the matter is that what Julian Assange has on these guys is so fucking bad. It's so bad that they have to hit the freaking, I think the lady doth protest too much. I mean, I think we're at that level. It's either ratchet this shit up to 11 and hope for the best, or we're all going down in fucking flames. Remember, if that bastard wins, we're all going to hang from nooses. Oh, by the way, Turkey just opened up accession talks with the Eurasian Economic Union to start a customs union. I want you to put that in your head for a second. that Turkey is begun the process of joining the Eurasian Economic Union. Yeah, I'm talking about the Matt Lauer event when I made that quote. Turkey, in love with the old man's daughter, the old man thinks. Look, Turkey opened up talks with the, and then I'm like, and then there's Iran. I forgot all about that. Hold on for just a second. Let me pop over to the Durin real quick. I didn't even get a chance to read the freaking Durin today. All right, well, that's done. ISIS is encircled in central Syria. Turkey signs to sign customs deal with the Eurasian Economic Union. Historic Iran-Turkey summit silenced by the media. Yeah, I mean, you know, guys, do you? There's a picture of Erdogan meeting with Iran's chief of staff, okay, in Ankara. I mean, how much more do you need to know? It's like, oh, and FYI, the Catalans will still be having their independence vote, regardless of what just happened in Barcelona. Think about that as well. So this morning on my blog, I put up a number of screenshots in a post I did this morning. I'm gonna grab my desktop real quick and get that started. So hold on, I'm gonna post this up. I'm gonna show this to you. So, all right. So can you guys see that? So aside from the fact that that's like the greatest picture of a goat ever, so here we are, and we've been looking at this stuff we've been looking at this at how crazy we've had. What's the combined GDP of Turkey, Iran, and Russia? Off the top of my head, around maybe 4.5 trillion. All right. So so we've been having this, oh my God, how crazy is this? The dollar's dropping. The Trump White House is in shambles. Everything's awful. We've got an inversion of the yield curve at the short end because we're worried about a debt ceiling fight. Goldman's coming out and saying, "Oh my God, there's a 50% chance we're not going to have a deal," and this is blah blah blah. So look at what we've got this morning. This is all from Zero Hedge this morning. Now Zero Hedge is apocalyptic on a good day, but they outdid themselves this morning. Okay. Armageddon risk returns. North Korea predicts catastrophe as massive war games begin. Sell the U.S., buy Japan. Yeah, fucking A right. This is an extension of the Wall Street meme that that emerging markets are actually better than the U.S. markets and than developed markets at this point, and that you should be looking to move all your money into emerging markets. Fuck, even Newsweek put up a thing about, hey, it's time to get into emerging markets. By the way, that's the time to sell. When something's on the front cover of Newsweek, you sell it. Whatever's on the front cover of Newsweek, you sell. Okay? Michael Moore melts down again. This guy's going to get us all killed. The USA is now twice as likely to default as Germany. So CDS spreads, credit default swap, insurance rates are now twice as high against U.S. debt in terms of probability of percentage of default than German debt. Wait, it gets better. From nukes to terrorism, battered investors flee risk for the safety of bonds and gold. We saw that this morning. Caught on tape, Spanish police killed 5 terrorists in separate terror plot. Democratic Missouri senator, I hope Trump is assassinated. Hey, let's blow up Mount Rushmore, says Vice News. All right. when you see stuff like this, it's at times like that that you say to yourself, I think somebody's trying to run a scam on me. It's times like this that reversals are made from. If I can teach you anything about markets, okay, is that in order to keep your head, in order to keep from losing your head, you have to keep your head. Believe me, I've lost my head enough time in the markets that I've lost my ass in the markets. Zero Hedge is based out of New York, for Christ's sake. Their servers are in Iceland now. Okay. So, in order to keep from getting crazy, from losing all your money, you cannot buy into the madness of crowds. You have to remain outside of it. So when you see all of this stuff happening, you have to step back, look at all of it, and remind yourself, are they running a con on me? Everybody's bearish. You want to be bullish. Everybody's bullish, bearish. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm not just talking about stocks here. Okay? I'm talking about everything. When everybody's a Marxist, you want to be a libertarian. When everybody's a libertarian, you want to be a Marxist. Not that it's a bad, but truth be told, when everybody's a Marxist, which is what we had in 2004, 2005, 2006, especially after 9/11. Dude, seriously. Being a libertarian in the United States, in rural North Florida in 2003, trying to start a fucking local party, holy shit. After 9/11, Tea Party wing of the Republican Party, which didn't exist with that moniker then. No. I could walk into a gun shop in North Florida and I would be welcomed to put literature on the table and everything else. After 9/11, oh no, they didn't want my time of day. I wasn't even allowed. They were hostile to me, selling me ammunition. That's how bad it was. And that happens. You get one perspective when you become a unipolar society or a mono perspective society. Oh, Animo is cheap then. Oh my God. All the Bernal 7.62x39 I got for my AK-47. Holy shit. Crowd is never right. Another thing that Martin will crowd is never right. In order to get markets to reverse against the current trend, you have to get everybody on one side of the trade. Everybody's bullish. Who do you sell to? Everybody's buying. What happens when the supply of sellers goes to zero? Can't push the price any higher. Can't. At that point, the market's correct. At that point that everything changes. Dark days of this country are the days after 9/11, when being a libertarian, being anti-war, against the grain. By guys like Justin Raimondo over at antiwar.com, and Scott Horton, and Ron Paul, and the rest of them. Those guys are fucking heroes, because if they didn't stay the course, we wouldn't be where we are today. No, what you want to do is you want to be smart at when the markets are topping or when the markets are high. You want to sell into that. You don't have to sell everything, but you want to get the cash. And when everybody's selling, because here's the thing. Cash gives you, okay? It's like not being in debt. Like owning your house. The money you make, if you don't have any debt, the money you make, fuck it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can save it, you can spend it, you can burn it, you can do whatever you want with it. Make more next month. You don't have a predator breathing down your neck looking for that claim against future production that is the debt. Right? Same thing. Free cash flow gives you options. You're trading, if you're, positioning yourself in the marketplace, having cash gives you options. Cash makes you brave, man. You'd be sitting there with, money in your brokerage account going, buy this shit. Why would I buy that stock at that price? I'm a big fan of that. I don't think that valuation's. Fuck that. I'm going to wait for it to correct 20%. I'll buy it. Then it goes down 20%, and you're like, no, I can wait. I can maybe wait for another 10%. Keep playing that game. What you should do is, of course, when you set a price target, buy a small tranche at that price target. Drops again, buy a little bit more. If you still like the stock, buy a little bit more. If the story hasn't changed, stock keeps dropping, keep buying a little bit more. Average in at a nice low, at a relatively low price. You'll get yourself near the bottom, and then when it reverses, you make a fucking. Dude, you should not be paying $45,000 for a car right now. Free advice. Used car prices are going to drop like a rock. They're already beginning to drop because we're getting a mass of off-lease, off-lease cars coming back. Car companies are all in trouble. Even the good ones, even well-run companies like Ford. It's a shame, too, because Ford's a great company, make good cars. Don't ever borrow. It's certainly not in this environment. I mean, unless you're trying to build a business with it, unless you're trying to do something productive with it. Unless you need something right now and you're really, debt is usable at the right price. That's a great thing. But we're at a point with the way this is going right now. We are reaching peak chaos in the U.S. It's not going to stay this way. Okay? I think back to 2011 and everything that happened in 2011 as we hit the freaking peak of the silver market in April, and hit the peak of when Osama bin Laden was killed. Then we hit the and then we hit the peak of the gold market in August. Okay, all of those things. I can tell you, holding through that was not the biggest mistake of my life. I've made many mistakes. Yep. Listen to DC, speaks truth about the car inventory. So you once you get to the peak in the market, and you're thinking, oh my God, the U.S. just got downgraded. This is happening. The bond market's blowing up. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And then the central banks all coordinated a $500 billion slush fund. And the Swiss pegged the euro, the franc to the euro. And they ended the gold bull market in 48 hours. Okay? And it was done. And it's been that way for 6 years. And it'll probably be that way for another. Okay, not a big deal. For right now, yeah, we're reaching that point. Gold is starting to do interesting things. Silver is beginning to do interesting things. We're starting to see these weird moments on the charts. I wrote a private blog this morning about it to explain what I saw in gold this morning. I wrote a private blog last week where I saw something really weird happen in silver. Okay, these are when we start to get these kinds of weird pricing signals. It's telling us that we're getting close to a change behavior of the market. It may still take a while for that to work itself out. It may take months to work itself. Beginning to get those early signals, and those early signals are lining up callback with Martin Armstrong's timing as to when this stuff is going. I'm on record, both Seeking Alpha, and the Patreon blog, and even on my own blog, that I'm looking at Q1 of 2018, probably and that lines up with Cliff High's discussions about the cryptos. All is lining up. Multiple sets of signals are starting to line up now. Okay? I'm going to talk about this a lot over the course of the next 5 or 6 months. Talk about it every night, practically. I write about it every day, various forms. Okay? So the time is now to where there's going to be a lot of money to be made. Right? Yeah. That's when it starts. Then it's going to go for about 3 or 4 years. There's going to be a lot of money to be made. The volatility is going to be heart-stopping. It's going to drive you nuts. But you want to be positioned right now during a chaotic scenario like this. I will make it abundantly clear. Yeah, DC's pretty much got it right. Get into cryptos now. You want to be in cash, gold, cash, and cryptos. Okay? GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, gold, cash, and crypto. Some amount of each. Need to have dollars. Got to pay your bills in dollars. Jim Rickards was out there yesterday saying that they're looking at they're laying the groundwork for shutting down the banking system when it all fails. I don't put it past them. I thought it was going to happen in 2011. I was wrong. We're here in 2017, 2018. This is likely the one. This is likely the big one. Financial system broke in 2008. It has not been fixed. We've been living on borrowed time since then. Okay? Takes a generation to break a global financial system and rebuild it. Started in 2008. It's going to run until 2024 or longer. I'm not, again, that was what I was talking about with that, Kane, with Bitcoin, was I'm worried that it's getting ahead of itself. I do think there's going to be a lot of volatility. I do think we're going to get a crash. I don't think it's going to be a long crash. I don't think it's going to be a 6 or 8 month or even 3 or 4 year crash like the last one. I think it's going to be a very short-lived thing. We're going to see a move up to $5,000, and then we may see a move back to $3,000, and then we might see a move right back up to $7,000. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be tradable moves. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Or opportunities to use profits to rotate out into other cryptos which have not had a chance, which have not moved because all the money is chasing Bitcoin. But when the money starts to rotate out of Bitcoin, it doesn't rotate back into dollars, it's going to rotate into other cryptos. You're welcome. Understand that Cliff High is talking about $14,000 effectively on Bitcoin in February. Okay, $14,000. He's also said it's going to be really freaking volatile. Once the global financial system starts to break down, and I'm not talking about a stock market crash either. Okay, one of the weird things that's going to happen here. This is public knowledge. If you've read Martin Armstrong at all for the last 2 years, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And which is that you're going to see capital move out of bond markets, out of sovereign debt, and into tangible assets. Now, rare art is not a big enough market to soak up a lot of liquidity. Even gold isn't big enough to soak up a lot of that liquidity. Okay? What's going to soak up the kinds of liquidity we're talking about are U.S. assets, because we have the deepest liquid markets that also have the lion's share of the existing debt that's out there denominated in. And so when the markets start to explode, when the spasm occurs, it's going to occur because everybody's going to need dollars at the same fucking time. The Europeans are going to want to get out of euros. They're going to buy dollars. That's going to drive up the cost of the dollar for the people who need dollars to service their debt, to pay their coupons on their corporate debt, and for the U.S. states to pay their bills on their dollars. I'm not a big fan of real estate in this. Okay, what will cause it to break? Two things. One, this dollar, this oh my God, the dollar. This is why this blog is important. One of the reasons why this blog. This whole idea that Trump's administration is out of control, that they're going to try and impeach Trump, that there's going to be the debt ceiling is going to fail. The debt ceiling negotiations are going to fail. There will be no budget. There'll be all this. Oh my God, it's all horrible. That's all going to drive the dollar down. It's going to drive the euro up. It's been driving the euro up. The euro can't afford this. Italian banks are already in trouble at $1.10. It's $1.17. What if it goes to $1.28? Mario Draghi, the ECB president, was out there trying to talk the euro down the other day. It didn't work. It's the thing that's the most vulnerable at this point in time is the trillions of dollars of negative yielding debt in Europe. And the fact that the market still believes that Mario Draghi at the ECB has a solution to this. And he doesn't. And he knows it. And fucking everybody else knows it too. No, don't worry about inflation or deflation. Don't worry about any of that shit. Worry about the fact that there will be a run out of the euro and into dollars. There won't be an inflation or deflation. There will be a spasm in the monetary system with that. Just like Lehman Brothers, where everybody goes rushing looking for dollars at the same time. When we have CDS spreads on U.S. debt rising above Germany's, this is one part of this is the deep state running a fucking psyop on us that the dollar, that they're trying to make Europe look good. This is, again, this whole idea about them rallying around Fortress Europe and making Angela Merkel into the leader of the free world and all this other bullshit. It's all fucking lie where they attack Trump. So they're attacking Trump in order to make Merkel look good, and they're building Merkel up to make the euro look good. And this is all this is going to do is drive the freaking euro to $1.25. At that point, the whole freaking thing, the whole banking system collapses, and they're not ring fenced. They think they are, but the problem is that this problem is 10 times bigger than Lehman Brothers. The collateral change are so big it's unreal. You've got years now of interest rate derivative, of interest rate swap derivatives that have been hedged and work on this regime of negative 0.6% on the freaking on euro debt on 1 year euro debt. It's out of they're out of their fucking mind. Okay. A 40 basis point move in 1 year debt, dude, that could break Deutsche Bank. Breaks Deutsche Bank, it breaks Barclays. It breaks Barclays, it breaks RBS. It breaks RBS, it breaks HSBC. It breaks HSBC, it'll break freaking Goldman Sachs. Well, maybe not Goldman Sachs, but it can break Bank of America or Wells Fargo or anything else. Look, we've got major crisis of confidence in Wells Fargo's account numbers and all of this other stuff. You've got major issues within Citibank, Bank of America. The rest of them, it's all happening. It's all right in front of you. Excuse me. This is the stuff that you really have to be worried about. So what's going to precipitate it is this maniacal desire to impeach Trump and create chaos here, and a weak dollar, and to create the idea that Trump is a weak leader in order to be able to not throw him out of office. But if they continue to have this go too long, it's going to push the euro up too far. They're going to lose control of all the markets. Then what? Then the shit hits the proverbial fan. And you'll see, looks like I'm going to have to go. My wife is home, and the quality of the stream is starting to drop. So, most likely because I didn't cover this stuff earlier, Kane, and I'm going to have to go soon because it looks like I'm going to start dropping frames. Because I've been going too long anyway. The money's going to be made in gold and cryptos. Okay, so I'll be back on Monday night. It's time. I've been talking since 8. Oh my God, it's 10:30. All right, I need to get going. So you guys take care. We'll talk again. I'll probably do a scope probably Sunday morning for a couple minutes. I don't know. But Monday night, we'll be right back here on YouTube Live until we can figure out a way to get over to Gab and